The wind moves over the waters as it did in the beginning, whispering to those who still have ears to hear. For the voice of the Eternal does not fade with the ages, nor does his call grow weaker with the passage of years. The same voice that called the prophets in the wilderness now calls you in the wilderness of this age. The same hand that parted seas still reaches out to part the walls you face. The same light that broke into the darkness of the tomb still breaks into the darkness of your night. You were not called to walk the road of the ordinary. You were not formed to blend into the shadows. You were shaped by the breath of the Almighty to bear his image in a world that has forgotten its maker. You carry the seal of heaven on your soul, and yet so often you let the dust of this world cover it. But the time is short, the hour is late, and the call is upon you to rise. There is a moment appointed for everything under heaven, and this is your moment. The God who formed the galaxies also formed the days of your life before you lived a single one. You are not here by accident. You are not breathing today because the universe rolled dice and you happen to exist. You are breathing because the Creator willed it. Every breath is a decree from heaven that you still have a mission on this earth. Every sunrise is a summons to live, to fight, to stand, to shine. Do not waste what is priceless. Do not trade the eternal for the cheap coins of this passing world. For what will it profit you if you gain the world and lose the soul that is worth more than all creation? The hour is dangerous, but it is also filled with opportunity for those who will not bow to the idols of the age. The kingdoms of men are shaking, the thrones of this world are trembling, and the foundations of false security are cracking. But for the one who builds upon the rock, the shaking is not destruction, but purification. The storms do not destroy the house built on the rock, they reveal its strength. And if you belong to the one who holds the storm in his hands, you have nothing to fear from the wind. Let the world tremble, but let your heart stand still, anchored in the one who cannot be moved. The enemy of your soul will tell you that you are too small, too weak, too flawed to make any difference. But the truth is the opposite. It is precisely the small that God uses to bring down the mighty. It is the weak who become strong in his power. It is the flawed who become vessels of glory when surrendered to his will. The pages of history are filled with such people, and you are called to be among them. Do not say you are too broken. Do not say it is too late. The God who makes the desert bloom can cause your life to bear fruit again. The God who brings the dead to life can breathe over the ashes of your failures and cause them to blaze with new fire. The darkness will not wait. It advances while the children of light sleep. But you were not made to sleep through the battle. You were made to be a light in the night, a voice in the silence, a flame in the cold. Do not measure your worth by the applause of this age. Measure it by the scars you bear for standing for what is right. For every wound in the service of righteousness is more precious than the crowns of kings who bowed to compromise. You were made for more than comfort. You were made for courage. The hour may seem overwhelming, but you are not called to win the war by your own strength. You are called to stand, to speak, to move in obedience, and the Lord himself will fight for you. The weapons that are against you may seem many, but none can stand before the one who goes before you. And he has promised never to leave you nor forsake you. That is not poetry. That is a covenant sealed with his own blood. Every giant that rises against you will fall if you walk in his steps. Every chain that binds you will break if you trust in his power. Every prison door will swing open if you refuse to bow to the jailer's fear. The road you walk is not a road of chance. It is the path of destiny, carved before the foundations of the earth. Every trial you face has been measured. Every tear you shed has been counted. Every step you take is seen by the one who called you. Do not believe the lie that you are wandering alone through chaos. Even in the wilderness, there is a map in the hands of your shepherd. Even in the storm, there is an anchor deep beneath the waves. Even in the fire, there is one who walks beside you, and the flames will not consume you. You may not see the end from the beginning, but he does. And he has already written the victory into the final chapter of your story. The enemy would have you forget who you are, because if you remember, you will be unstoppable. If you know you are a child of the King, you will not bow to the counterfeit thrones of this world. If you know you are the light, you will not hide in the shadows. If you know the power of the one who lives within you, you will not tremble before the threats of darkness. It is when the lion forgets he is a lion that he is defeated. It is when the soldier forgets the cause that he lays down his sword. But if you will rise and remember the covenant, remember the calling, remember the cross, then the chains will fall, the fear will vanish, and you will stand as you were always meant to stand, clothed in the armor of heaven, unshaken by the shaking world. Your days are not random pages scattered in the wind. They are a scroll in the hand of God, and every page is part of his unfolding purpose. There are no wasted moments in the life surrendered to him. Even the delays are preparation. Even the detours are training grounds. Even the closed doors are shields from paths that would have destroyed you. When you cannot see his hand, trust his heart. When you cannot trace the pattern, trust the weaver. He is not only the author, but the finisher of your faith, and he will not abandon the work of his hands. The voices of the age will urge you to trade the eternal for the temporary, the priceless for the worthless. They will promise peace if you will only surrender your convictions. They will offer applause if you will only silence your voice. But peace without truth is not peace. It is surrender to the lie. Applause without righteousness is not honor. It is the praise of those who mock the truth. Do not seek to please those who hate the light, for their favor will vanish like smoke. Seek instead to hear at the end of the race the only words that matter. Well done, good and faithful servant. For those words outweigh all the crowns and treasures this world could ever offer. The night may seem long, but dawn is certain. The winter may bite hard, but spring is already written into the earth. The valley may seem endless, but there is a mountaintop beyond it. Your story does not end in defeat, no matter how fierce the battle. For the author of your faith has never lost a war, and he is not about to start now. He does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And you have been called. You have been chosen for this hour, this generation, this moment in history. The world has never been darker, but that only means your light has never been more needed. Stand in the place you have been planted. Speak the truth even if your voice shakes. Love even when hatred surrounds you. Forgive even when you are wounded. Give even when your hands feel empty. Move forward even when you cannot see the road. For the kingdom advances not by sight, but by faith. And faith is the victory that overcomes the world. The one who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light has not changed his mind about you. His gifts are without repentance, his promises are without expiration, and his presence is without end. Do not be surprised when the world resists you. The darkness always resists the light. Do not be discouraged when you are misunderstood. Truth is rarely welcomed by those who love lies. Do not be afraid when you are outnumbered. One with God is always a majority. The same God who gave courage to David in the face of Goliath, who gave words to Moses before Pharaoh, who gave fire to Elijah on Mount Carmel, now gives his spirit to you. That spirit is not one of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. It is time to rise in that power. It is time to walk in that love. It is time to stand in that soundness. For the days are evil, but your calling is holy. The days you live in are not ordinary days. They are the days spoken of by prophets, the days when nations are weighed in the balance, when truth is cast down, and when those who stand for righteousness shine like the stars in the darkness. You have been placed here not by accident, but by divine appointment. The God who could have placed you in any century chose this one. He knew the battles you would face. He knew the trials you would endure. And still he chose you. That means you have within you what is needed to stand, for he equips those he calls. There will be moments when the ground beneath you feels like shifting sand, when the familiar is taken away, when the structures you trusted in crumble. Do not fear. The kingdom you belong to cannot be shaken. The rock upon which you stand cannot be moved. All the powers of hell can gather against you, yet they cannot uproot one who is rooted in the word and anchored in the Spirit. Do not measure the faithfulness of God by the calmness of your circumstances. Often the greatest proofs of his faithfulness come in the midst of the fiercest storms. If you would see the power of God, you must be willing to step into the impossible. The waters did not part while Israel stood on the shore. They parted when they stepped forward into the sea. The giant did not fall while David hid behind the lines. He fell when David ran toward him. The chains did not break for Paul and Silas until they praised God in the prison at midnight. Faith is not the absence of risk. It is moving forward when the only evidence you have is the promise of God. And the one who promised is faithful. Do not wait for perfect conditions to act, for you will wait forever. The perfect time is now, because the God who holds time is with you now. Do not say, Oh, when I am stronger, I will rise, for it is in your weakness that his strength is made perfect. Do not say, oh, when I have more, I will give, for it is in giving from your lack that the heavens open. Do not say, when I understand, I will obey, for it is in obeying without seeing that the miracle comes. The eyes of the world are fixed on the visible, but you are called to see the invisible, but you are called to see the invisible. The armies of the enemy may surround the city, but lift your eyes and see that the armies of heaven surround the enemy. The darkness may seem deep, but lift your eyes and see that the light has already broken through. The valley may seem endless, but lift your eyes and see the mountaintop beyond. Faith is the vision of the soul, and with it you will see what others cannot. You will be told that you cannot change the world, but remember that the world has always been changed by those who refuse to believe that lie. You will be told that your voice is too small, but remember that the same God who made the mountains made your voice, and when he speaks through it, it carries the weight of eternity. You will be told that the battle is too great, but remember that the battle is the Lord's, and no power can stand against him. Do not bow to fear, for fear is the prophecy of failure. Bow instead to faith, for faith is the prophecy of victory. You have not been called to echo the darkness. You have been called to proclaim the light. Do not spend your breath repeating the lies of the age. Spend it declaring the truth that sets captives free. Do not join in the chorus of complaint. Join in the song of hope, for hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is the certainty that the same God who was faithful yesterday will be faithful tomorrow. Hope does not deny the storm. It declares that the storm will pass and the sun will shine again. Do not despise the small beginnings. A seed is small, yet it carries within it the power to split the soil, rise toward the light, and become a tree that shelters life. Your act of obedience may seem small. Your word of encouragement may seem unnoticed. Your prayer may seem unheard. But nothing given to God is ever wasted. In his hands, the smallest offering becomes a harvest. The loaves and fish were few, but in his hands they fed thousands. The oil in the jar was almost gone, but in his hands it never ran out. Place what you have in his hands and watch the impossible unfold. When you walk with him, you will go through valleys, but you will not remain there. You will face battles, but you will not fight alone. You will see nights, but the dawn will come. The journey will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. For in the end, the crown is not given to the one who had no struggle, but to the one who did not quit. The race is not won by the one who never stumbled, but by the one who rose every time he fell. And you will rise because the one who lifted you out of death itself now walks beside you. The call of God upon your life is not a suggestion. It is a decree spoken from eternity past, inscribed before the foundations of the world, and sealed with the breath of the Almighty. You are not the result of accident, coincidence, or the random turning of history's wheel. You were placed, assigned, and appointed for such a time as this. Every gift you carry was placed in you for this season, and every trial you have faced has been shaping you for this moment. Even the wounds you carry can be turned into weapons for the kingdom if you will lay them before him. Do not despise your scars, for they are the marks of battles survived, the testimony of a God who brought you through what was meant to destroy you. You are here reading these words because the grave was denied you, because heaven still has purpose for you, because the author of your story has not written to the end. And as long as the page turns, the mission continues. We live in an hour when truth is trampled in the streets and righteousness is mocked by the powers that claim to rule the earth. Darkness boasts as if it has already won, and compromise has become the language of the age. But the kingdom you belong to is not built on shifting sand, is unshakable, unmovable, eternal. And the king you serve does not bow to the trends of men. He has not altered his word to fit the culture. He has not adjusted his commands to match the times. Match the time. The truth is the truth in every generation, and the one who clings to it will stand when all else has fallen. You must decide now, in this moment, whom you will serve. Will you bow to the idols of convenience, applause, and fear? Or will you bow to the one whose eyes are like fire, whose voice shakes the heavens, whose throne endures forever? There is a deception in this age that tells you safety is the highest goal. But you were not called to a life of safety. You were called to a life of significance. Safety will cause you to bury your talents in the ground, but significance will cause you to multiply them. Safety will keep you in the boat, but significance will call you to step onto the water. Safety will make you silent when you should speak, still when you should move, hidden when you should shine. The heroes of the faith were not safe men and women. They were those who risked everything because they knew there was something worth more than everything. And so must you. The clock of history is moving toward its appointed hour. The kingdoms of men will rise and fall, but the kingdom of God will endure. Nations will boast in their power, yet crumble in their pride. Leaders will claim to hold the future, yet be swept away by the tide. And in the midst of it, the people of God will shine as beacons. But only if they choose to stand. It will not be easy. The pressure will increase. The opposition will rise. The cost will grow higher. But the reward will be worth more than the treasures of this world could ever contain. For one day the skies will split, the trumpet will sound, and the king will return. On that day, it will not matter how comfortable you were, how popular you became, or how much wealth you gathered. It will matter only that you stood your ground, kept the faith, and finished the race. You must understand that darkness is not simply the absence of light. It is an active force, seeking to extinguish it. That means you cannot be passive. Light that hides is light that dies, is light that dies. You must uncover the flame, even if the wind howls against it. You must lift the torch higher, even if it makes you a target. For the light is not yours, it is His. And He gave it to you so that others might see. The world may call you a fool for your faith, but heaven will call you faithful. The world may say your hope is in vain, but heaven will say your hope was the victory. The world may cast you aside, but heaven will receive you with honor. And in the end, it is heaven's verdict that will echo for eternity. Every step of faith you take is a declaration of war against the darkness. Every word of truth you speak is an arrow that pierces the lies of the enemy. Every act of love you give is a seed planted in the soil of eternity. You may never see the full harvest on this side of glory, but you are not laboring in vain. For the Lord of the harvest has promised that not one act done in His name will be wasted. Even the cup of water given to the thirsty will be remembered. Even the tears shed in prayer will be stored in His bottle. Even the smallest act of obedience will echo forever. This is the economy of heaven. Nothing faithful is ever lost. Do not be surprised when the opposition comes. Do not be shocked when the fire burns hotter. The very presence of resistance is evidence that you are advancing. The enemy does not attack what he does not fear. If the battle has intensified, it is because your calling is dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Do not retreat. Do not yield ground, for the battle is not yours, it is the Lord's. Stand in His strength, move in His power, speak in His authority, and you will see the walls fall. They may not fall in the way you expect or in the time you wish, but they will fall. For nothing can stand against the decree of the Almighty. And when you grow weary, remember this. The same hand that flung the stars into space is the hand that lifts you. The same voice that called the universe into being is the voice that calls your name. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is the Spirit that lives in you. You are not an orphan in this fight. You are a child of the Most High, and His resources are infinite. Lean on Him when your strength fails. Listen for Him when the noise surrounds you. Follow Him when the path is unclear. And you will find that even in the wilderness you are never lost, for the shepherd is with you.